intercooler. Things for intercooler. Instructions. First step of intercooler, seeing as we're doing a charge pipe as well. If you aren't doing a charge pipe, you would skip this step, but because we need to take the connection off of the throttle body up at the engine. So there's two hose clamps there, they're 7mm. I'm gonna grab the tool to do that. Then you have a map sensor that needs to be disconnected, and then you have a emissions line on the other side that we're gonna disconnect as well. So first up is gonna be getting that hose clamp off. Shorty 7. Extension. That should do the trick. Damn truck's tall, so you can't really see, but bear with me. Just gonna do the inside clamp. The outside clamp doesn't need to be done, it'll just stay with the pipe. And then we have the map sensor. It's actually a tip sensor. Measures pressure pre-throttle. And then we have a evap line. Might be hard to see in the video, but it's just white clip, push them out, or sorry, push them in, and then push out towards the bottom of the truck. And then it'll wiggle right off. Now we're underneath the truck. I'm gonna remove these skid plate bolts. So we got two 15s back here, and we got four 13s up front here. So I'm gonna loosen these ones all the way out, and then up front I'll take the two outers out, and then I'll support this underneath, and then take these 13s out. That way it's a little bit easier to handle coming out underneath the truck. It's got a little weight to it. So we'll get these 13s most of the way out. Now that we got that lower skid plate off, we can look up inside here and see the factory intercooler. So you have the driver's side charge pipe, which the top is disconnected right now. We'll have to fish that out of there. Then we have the driver's side, which is both charge pipes that come from the turbo. So you have the passenger side, and I believe this is driver's side, or vice versa. Nope, I was right, driver's side, passenger side. So first thing we're gonna do is disconnect this engine, or this fan control harness here. So first thing would be to rip this out. Don't break these tabs. They're a little tough. I'm gonna get a tool for that, and then we'll disconnect this plug here. So second thing we wanna do is there's a blow-off valve recirculation pipe that goes up to the factory inlet tubes. You just gotta twist that and then pull back. Super easy. So you see it's there, it's disconnected. You can see I have this supported up. Reason being is this whole thing's got some weight to it with the fans and everything on there. When we remove these bolts, that thing's just gonna come crashing down. So I got a little support on it. What I'll do is I'll probably hold this up, kick the support out of the way, pull the plate out, and then lower everything down at one. So next step would be popping out the factory clip that holds the charge pipe on. I'll grab a light. So we got a factory metal clip retainer that goes in here, holds the charge pipe on. So just a little flathead or a pick tool will do well there. I'm gonna go for a flathead. I'll pull that out, and then should be able to just give it a small pry, and that charge pipe will come loose in there. There we go. Yep, that's all loose now. So now we got to fight with these 7mm. These are a pain in the ass because they're facing the wrong direction, as you can see. Getting at those clamps was a little tight, but not too bad. was able to get it with the electric ratchet, but I got both clamps done. Don't be too concerned when you pop off the charge pipes and a little bit of oil's coming out. That's normal because the PCV system blows through the charge pipes and the intakes. So eventually oil's gonna make it through. Not a huge deal. It usually sits down here at the bottom because that's where, you know, it pools up all the vapors. So not a big deal. You know, you just be mindful when you disconnect it that oil might fly out of there. So I already got this charge pipe disconnected here. And this one is going to be a little tough just because the intercooler is still in place, but just kind of pull it out until it snaps off or disconnects, not really snaps off. Just pull down just so it's off. That way when you disconnect the intercooler and drop it down, it's not, you know, hung up there and you're fighting it. So next step is going to be removing the plate, the mounting plate that goes across here from the vehicle. So we'll just break these loose on each side and then we'll get the electric ratchet on it. Never try to break, you know, a bigger headed bolt like this loose with the electric ratchet. If you do use one like me, you know, it's just put unnecessary wear on the ratchet. So put these all down, throw a bolt on the ground, normal, standard shit, then loosen these up. Now here comes the fun part. Balancing the intercooler while you lower it down. More than likely this thing is going to stay up there. Huh. Remember that oil I told you about? Basically just ate some. Awesome. Here we go. Not too shabby so far. So just be mindful when you're pulling this all down. I think the best thing right now is to one-hand it up and get this plate out of the way. And pull everything out at once. So these fans should be able to slide out by themselves if you're careful enough. Perfect. So we'll set down the old fans. We're going to pull this plate out next. Do this shit real time, that way you can see how much of a pain it actually is. Sorry for loud noises. So there is a one connector up here that still remains. It's a little tight to fit. Usually I lower it down a little bit and then disconnect it, but looks like we got some access to it now. So we'll use that to hold that up, and then we'll get that pry tool. So this up here is the blow-off valve canister. There's a diverter valve on the end of it here, and then you have an actual canister. So there's a clip, squeeze and pull, and then you have one more clip holding it on, which is near impossible to reach. And that one we'll get as the intercooler comes down, which is now. So I like to give it a little wigs, then get this guy out of the way, because the factory intercooler is not that heavy. Slide this out of the way. It's just when the fan and everything is on there, it's kind of awkward. But we'll pull this down. The passenger side is going to be hung up on the factory charge pipes. You kind of deal with the same thing over on the driver's side because the blow-off valve's in the way. So it's easier to drop the passenger side down and then rotate the intercooler down. You'll see that other clip I mentioned. So just kind of hold tight with that. Then you'll pop that guy out. So again, on this one, be careful not to break it. It's fragile, just like the other one. So here you go, here's your factory intercooler. You can see, not that spectacular. Pretty small compared to this guy here. So I'm gonna just tidy up a little bit, clean up some of the oil from the charge pipe here, and I'm actually gonna pop this charge pipe off. Now there's a few things you need to grab off the factory intercooler and move over the CPE one. So the first thing is gonna be the rubber grommets here. So those just pretty much twist off. There's gonna be 4 of them. Always seems like the top ones are tighter. I should say bottom ones. There we go. Then we need to grab the couplers. And I'm going to show you some with these factory clamps. So the factory clamps here, before you reuse them, remove these tabs here. So these are, these keep the clamp in place, but when you're going into plastic, it's a little bit easier. It kind of grabs into it. However, the new intercooler is cast aluminum. So these aren't really going to squeeze into it. This is going to give an area, like a little bit of lift, and it's not going to seal as well. So I usually just pop them off, bend them back, and they come right off the clamps pretty easy. So we'll grab a flathead real quick. See if I can do this without making too many dad noises. Lots of grunting. Booyah. Easy peasy. So it doesn't matter which direction you go in. When putting these back on, seeing as they're symmetrical. But I'm going to give it a quick little clean on the inside, just on the areas that clamp, that way it's not slippery. After that, we're going to grab a 10. Oh, Jesus Christ, where's my 10? Whew. Almost had a meme there. All right. Which doesn't matter anyways, because it's an 8, and I knew that, but I still grabbed the 10. 8. Come around the backside. So you got that there. And then once you take this bolt out, you just turn this counterclockwise, and then she's out. So that'll do it for the stock intercooler. There's nothing else on this that we need to remove. So we'll just set this aside. I guess the first thing we'll do, seeing as I'll mess with that charge pipe off camera, so you're not listening to me make all these funny noises, is line up the blow valve. There's a little bit of oil on there anyways from it leaking, but it doesn't hurt to steal some from the coupler and just put a little lube on there. So just do that, twist, that'll line up in there. Now in the kit, in the parts, there's going to be a couple washers and there's a bolt. So this bolt is obviously the mounting, and these washers here is just to get the blow-off valve lined up, just so it's level. So that's good to go. So we'll get the couplers on here as well. Actually, we'll throw the clamps on here. And this is the bottom of the intercooler. So suggestion is to put these in a position you can actually reach, just in case you ever take it off again. So that'll do, pig. They're lined up on the bottom. These clamps, the factory clamps are okay. They're not the best. So go until it's snug and then just another quarter turn. I'm always a big fan of not cranking down stuff. I'll repeat it 1,000 times until people listen. So get this on here. And for this one, I'm gonna go this way. That way when I'm looking up at it, I can see it. All right, so the last step for prepping the intercooler itself is going to be the included hardware. We got these little standoffs here, and these are what your rubber grommets are going to go on. So again, nice and easy. Thread these in. Maybe if I can get my hand to work correctly. There you go. These have some flat spots on them, and I'll show you in a second. You can get a wrench on there. You can even get away with 13, but anything to just, again, snug it up. And good. So we'll add this to the pile of tools that will end up lost. So now we need to get the rubber hangers back on, or rubber isolators back on. That centers everything up. We got two back here. So I'm gonna get that charge pipe out, and then we're gonna lift this tank up into the engine bay. Managed to pull that charge pipe off. So you got a T-map sensor on there, or tip sensor. Yep, it's T-map. It's got 4-wire. So we need to get a T30 Torx. Must be 35. And that's the ticket right there. We'll pull the sensor off, move this over to the new pipe, which is over there. So I'm gonna fish this back up. It's gonna be a little bit easier seeing as there's no coupler on this one. I left a coupler on the last one. But again, just be careful. You know, rotate everything in, nice and smooth. Pay attention to the fan and that line. There we go, up over the fans. Ooh. And then up to the throttle body. Perfect. So we'll just hang this up and out of the way. We'll get the O-ring in there. We'll need to go in one. There it is. Perfect. So that O-ring I just put in here will seal against here, and then you have this tapered piece that's going to be sealing against this other tapered piece inside here. So just like factory, it's nice they machined that. So again, I'm going to try to get it up out of the way a little bit more. Perfect. And then I'm going to mess with these clips here. I have no idea why, but forgot we had to take the bumper off. We got to remove the front lower grille shutters to make room for this tank of an intercooler. So I've already removed the grille piece. You know, it's just snap fit. So use a plastic pry bar, you know, and kind of come up underneath and pull it out. The reason why I did it off camera is because this truck has a front plate bracket on it, which has these plastic rivets here. So those kind of suck. So what I usually do is I'll pop out the ends here. Then you got 4 clips on each side, upper and lower. So I'll unclip the license plate. You just stick it flathead up in here, push up, and then pull out. And then I'll give you enough room to bend this forward, pop the grill out, just stick your fingers in and grab all at the same time, and then slide it out the bottom. So once that's done, if you look inside here, you got 21mm bolts, nuts actually, and then on this side, because this truck has adaptive cruise control, we have to remove the actual adaptive cruise control box. So we'll grab a 10. Did I grab a 10? Sure did. Oh, Ford, oh Ford, oh Ford. And for some reason, those are an 11. Let's pop that off. Do a quick disconnect. There we go. Just set this out of the way. So now we got to take these 21 millimeters off that are in there. We set the socket aside. Sometimes they're in there real good. Sometimes not too bad. Would use my impact, but forgot to stop on the way in and grab some new fittings for all my tools. So that wasn't tight at all. That one was a little bit. So underneath, I've already removed them. There's some brackets in here, just 8 millimeter will do it. So the bumper's not that heavy, surprisingly enough, but it is a little hefty. So we got those bolts out, So I'm gonna lower the truck down a little bit and kind of get on a chair and pull the bumper off to me so I can rest it on my legs. It'd be a little bit easier that way. Now I got the truck lowered down. There's one more bolt on the inside here. It's the same as the fronts here, the 21. So I just loosened them up. See here, there it is. And just hold the bumper in place. Reach back there. All right. Set it back. So now the bumper's ready to come off. Just bring it off a little bit forward, and then you see these this weather stripping here. All it is a little bit of Christmas trees holding them in. So we'll grab the pry tool, this clip tool. So you have one behind the bumper here. It will just pop off. Try not to scratch your bumper at the same time. Pull that one off. That one's good, that one's good, and that one's good. And then we have another one over here in the corner. Oh, that one went to the ground. We have one more right here. Worry about the paint. No big deal, it's just paint. Yeah. All right. You got these hogs out. Just kind of balance it on your legs. Make sure you pull your adaptive cruise control back. And then this right here is your grille shutters. So just pull just past it. And then what you'll have is you'll have these plastics around your tow hooks that'll get caught a little bit, and then these brackets need to come up and over. So it's just a little bit pinched in there. Just kind of raise the bumper up and then slide back. And there you go. Anyhow, this is what we're removing. So this is the lower grille shutter. So the bottom ones I've already done. You can access them from underneath. I was actually trying to undo this without taking the bumper off, but it's kind of a pain. So what we're gonna do is, there was an 8 mil down here. I took those out from the back, and then we just have 2 8 mils on top. So I'll adjust them so you can see. So you got an 8 mil up here on both sides, and then we have another electrical clip on this side. Follow the reverse order to get the bumper back on. You know, 2 21s up front on each side, then 2 21s in the back, one on each side. Then you have these 8 millimeters that go in the support rods here. Once you have that, the next step before loading the intercooler on is to grab the retaining clip for the charge pipe and just get it preloaded on there. I put the opening facing me so I can see what's going on. And then just kind of hook it in. And you want the opening to rest on. You'll see inside the slot here, there's a every couple inches there's a flat spot, and you just want to sit above that. So now with this preloaded in there, all you got to do once the intercooler in is just push it on, and it'll be good to go. So next thing we got to do is try to load this big old intercooler in here. I got my stand standing by, and once I get it up in there, I'm gonna slide this underneath it and then position everything as needed. So it's gonna be tough with just me. If you got a buddy to help you out, definitely recommend getting an extra hand in there. And then for the fans, I just kind of preloaded it on there as well. You know, tuck it on. And more likely this bracket's gonna fall off. We'll see. After reviewing some of the video of me underneath the Raptor, actually, you know, taking the clamps off and whatnot and the brackets, I realized I'm just keep bashing the GoPro against the bottom of the truck. So I think in future videos we might not wear the old GoPro when it's underneath, you know. So what we'll probably do is get some footage, you know, pointing the camera up in there and kind of going over what needs to be removed, pointing out and giving some explanation. I think it'll be a little bit easier. But basically the intercooler's lifted up. I didn't record me lifting it up at all. Reason being is because it is quite hard to do when you're doing it by yourself, essentially. So what I did is I lifted it up, put it up in the truck, and then I used a stand to hold it in place, and then I lined this bracket up. So I hung the fan on the backside of the intercooler. There's little hooks on top. Hung that on there, pushed it up in there with the stand, and then kind of lined everything up and tightened it down from there. You know, line the bracket up and put these on. Kind of reverse order of taking it out. And then up here you can actually reach over the top and you can feel the rubber grommets that we installed on the CP intercooler. So that's up in there now. The only thing that needs to be done really is the Coldside Chargepipe right here, right there, needs to be lined up and pushed on the intercooler over here on this side. And then don't forget to plug the blow-off valve tube in, and then the blow-off valve plug itself, the one that actually energizes it here. So what we're gonna do is kind of wrap this up and get a shot from up top of the charge pipe all hooked up. You know, it's just like factory, 2 clamps and a coupler. And that'll pretty much wrap it up. You know, throw the skid plate on, and that'll be the end of it. So we're gonna lower it down and hop up top. Everything's all installed now. Got the charge pipes hooked up underneath, got the charge pipe hooked up top, pushed onto the intercooler down the bottom, which was in the last little section we were working on. And then here's the top. You can see the T-bolt clamps on there and just a supplied coupler. Pretty straightforward, you know, it's just like factory, you know, popping on a coupler and hooking up some clamps. So that wraps up the truck. I know the video is a little long, I apologize. We edited a lot of stuff out, so it's even longer. So in the future, because this is the first install video I've actually done on this channel, I'm gonna focus on kind of getting the camera in a good position and really capture what needs to be done, and then not really record a lot of the actual work. So I'll probably use the GoPro on the old dome for setting things up, like on the table, and showing how things go together. But when we're actually working on the truck or the car, you know, whatever it is, probably leave the GoPro off and set up the camera somewhere else. That way you can kind of see the actual work being done, and then I'll bring the camera in close and show you, you know, bolts pulling off here, bolts going here, you know, what have you. So, like I said, take it easy on me. It's first one doing install video on this channel, and doing it myself isn't that easy as well. You know, I got to stop, move the camera and all that stuff, but enough complaining. Truck's done. Besides the downpipes, downpipes will be another video. I had to leave last night a little late because I forgot the bumper had to come off, so that pushed me past my actual allotted time that I set for doing the install. And then I had some obligations last night, and then again this morning I was at the Ford dealership signing some paperwork on a new vehicle that we're picking up. Yes, another Ford. RS, Raptor, Mustang, Fiesta, Ranger. We got everything pretty much covered, but the Ranger's gone now. That was Emily's truck. She's gonna drive my Model 3 now, and then the new vehicle we just picked up this morning, I'll be driving that. So that's something I actually ordered 3 to 4 months ago, and it just came in. Completely forgot about it, but I figured, what the hell, it was something I wanted to do, so I went and picked it up. So we'll go over that vehicle in next week's video, and then we'll go over the Mustang here as well, the engine that's in it, the engine that's going to be in it, and then the plans for it in the future. So this one, I'd say out of all the vehicles we're working on, this one's going to be the most exciting. We're not going to really do any like install videos or anything on it. It's just going to be talking about it, putting everything in, and then, you know, showing it all running in the end. So that one's going to get a lot of footage for the events it'll be participating in. So that wraps it up. Like I said, we'll do another video on the downpipes. I know a lot of people ask me specifically about the downpipes, doing an install video on it, but just ran out of time, and I know getting these ones off, because I've been driving this in winter and it has 41,000 miles on it now, it's going to be a pain in the ass to get off. So give me a couple weeks and we'll do that one as well.
I like the chase, the sweet aftertaste, but I'm wasting away.